Amorim's job is safe. INEOS are well aware the players are the biggest issue and they're ready to back Amorim even through the hard parts. INEOS did not give managers very much time at Nice, but they plan to be different at Manchester United. We're going to talk about INEOS' transfer plans though. Could they be making it harder for Amorim? Now they're looking at goalkeepers, they're looking at strikers, but they're now looking at young players. Rather than the Victor Osimhen, they're looking more at a young striker, but we did that with Højlund, we did that with Zirkzee. Is that the right decision? Could that be costly further down the line? Marcus Rashford reportedly makes a decision on his future, although it came out from the Sun, so they're very unreliable. We're going to talk about Joshua Zirkzee and his sort of turnaround, his future at United. We're going to talk about Bruno Fernandes, Leny Yoro's recent performance, which was quite impressive, and the lack of goal scorers at United. So we're going to be rounding up all the latest Manchester United news and a few discussion points into a 10-minute video for you guys. So if you do enjoy, please do go ahead and hit the like button and feel free to subscribe down below if you are new. But let's get into it. The key decision makers at Manchester United are steadfast in their belief that Ruben Amorim is still the right man for the job. They view the current struggle as nothing more than growing pains, as a natural part of the coach settling in and introducing a fresh approach. They argue that yet another managerial switch would simply be the case of history repeating itself and echoing the missteps of the past, which I agree with. For me, there was a few reports coming out, and to be honest, it was Spanish media, and it wasn't the most reliable, that Ruben Amorim's job wasn't safe. They could let go of Ruben Amorim at the end of the season. I don't think INEOS would sack Ruben Amorim until the earliest this time next year, when they've spent a bit of money on him in the summer. They spent a bit of money on him in January, and if we're still like 15th, 16th, not showing progress, then of course, I think this time next year they could sack him if we're in this position this time next year, if they brought him 5-6 signings in. But I think until Ruben Amorim's had his signings in, they wouldn't sack him. So if he's had signings and he shows progress, even if we're 8th this time next year, if he's got signings and he's shown progress, they're going to keep with him. You know, if his third season, which is his second full season, you know, he shows progress, that's what they're going to want. The sort of, I think, is next season is progress. The following season is make sure you're sort of in the Champions League, and the following season is title charge. I feel like that's sort of maybe the long-term plan, which is very fair. But for Amorim to succeed, it's all about recruitment. I think Amorim will succeed if we get recruitment spot on. I'm very positive that Amorim will be a success if we get recruitment spot on. But getting recruitment spot on is something that we don't do at Manchester United. Now, Give Me Sports said this: Manchester United may try and beat Newcastle United to Burnley's James Trafford, who could replace Onana as the first-choice goalkeeper. I don't like James Trafford. Too young, too inexperienced. I don't think he could deal with the pressure at Manchester United. I think Newcastle would be a better move for him. I think there's a different level of pressure as a young player at United. He struggled in the Premier League last season at Burnley. I do not like James Trafford, if I was going to be completely honest. I think there's better goalkeepers out there, and I think we need a goalkeeper with that a little bit more experience under him. I think James Trafford in 4 or 5 years' time could be a world-class keeper, but I think because of the pressure and everything at United, we just need someone a bit more ready-made. So personally, in my opinion, I'm down for a new goalkeeper, but I worry going another really young, inexperienced player in the squad. Now, I really do like Liam Delap. I'm not going to lie, I really do like Liam Delap. I think he's a good player, and if Man United sign him, I'm not going to be annoyed in the slightest. I think he's a good player. 10 goals and 2 assists in the Premier League this season for Ipswich. I think he's 21 years of age. He might be 22 now. Got, better than Højlund for sure, but obviously more natural striker than Zirkzee. I like Delap, but we need ready-made up top. We need ready-made up top. For me, Gyökeres and Osimhen, just that's what we need. It was said that United are increasingly confident that they stand a better chance of being able to negotiate the deal for Liam Delap rather than lowering primary target Osimhen to Old Trafford. Now, for me, I think Gyökeres and Osimhen is a must over Delap. I like Delap, and I'm not against signing Delap. If we signed Cunha and Delap, I'm happy with that because Cunha brings that experience. He's more ready-made. And I do think Delap's proven in the Premier League what he can do. If we sign Cunha and Delap, I'm happy. Cunha's 60 million release clause. Delap will be 40 million when Ipswich go down. 100 million. I'm happy with that. But I do think he's the same. He's just older than Højlund. Yes, he's got more goals than Højlund, but it's going to be harder at Man United. I do just think, do we need that experience up top? Because a more reliable source said this: Victor Osimhen is currently not a hot topic at Manchester United. You never know how the market will develop, but that's exactly the kind of transfer the club normally no longer want to make. His release clause is 58 million. Now, I think 58 million for Victor Osimhen is a good deal. Now, Victor Osimhen is asking for high wages, and that is the only thing that puts me off it. He was willing to go to Saudi for high wages. Is he one of those players that cares more about wages than where he goes? And that's not the attitude you want. We've done a Falcao. We've done an Alexis Sanchez. It's not worked. And I think Man United do need to move away from high-wage players. We've done the older high-wage players. But Victor Osimhen isn't like old or anything. He's still very much in his prime. He's still, I believe, 27 or 26 years of age. For me, someone that's 26 years of age is probably the perfect age for striker because they've got that experience. Gyökeres, Osimhen, and I think us continuously going for young players in the hardest position to play for Manchester United, it could be costly for Ruben Amorim. It could be costly for Man United because we're not scoring goals. And I think Cunha guarantees goals. Osimhen guarantees goals. Gyökeres guarantees goals. I think Delap is great, but confidence, pressure, could he then go to United and not deal with the pressure? Højlund was really good in his first season at United, I think, in general. Højlund did really well at Atlanta, but he's a shadow of himself. And maybe we need someone with a bit of experience to do this. And I agree with what Frank said here. I don't understand this approach from INEOS. Two young strikers in Højlund and Zirkzee have both struggled. The resolution by another young striker. Successful teams need experience too. I'm all for buying Kender, 17-year-old wingback. But if we're buying a 17-year-old wingback and we've brought a 20-year-old wingback, what's the point in buying another young player? Why don't we buy an experienced striker, experienced left 10, Cunha, an experienced striker? And then an experienced midfielder, because we've already got a lot of youth in Zirkzee, Yoro. So Zirkzee's 23 actually, he's not that young anymore, but Højlund, Yoro, Maino, Garnacho, we've got so much youth that we need experience. And I'm not talking about old players, but I'm talking in that maybe 24 to 27 age range where, yeah, in 3 years' time when we're looking to maybe push the Premier League, they are in their 30s, but we need to stabilise this club. We need elements of experience. Continuing on, the Sun claim that Manchester United forward Rashford is prepared to turn his January loan move to Aston Villa in a permanent deal this summer. I think Rashford would wait for Barcelona if he thinks Barcelona's in for him. I'm going to be completely honest. But I could see him going to Villa. He's doing well there. He's probably happy there. So, yeah. We'll have to wait and see what happens with Rashford, but it has to come from the Sun, so I'm going to take it with a pinch of salt. But I think if he doesn't go to Barcelona, we see him at Villa, and he's looking good there so far. So, big up Rashford. So, I saw this, and I wanted to read this out. On the 30th of December 2024, he was substituted after just 30 minutes versus Newcastle and met with boos versus Old Trafford. Okay, the 26th of February, so 2 months later, he delivers an incredible performance for 93 minutes, earning a standing ovation from the very supporters who cheered on as United's 10-man squad triumphed over Ipswich. From zero to hero, take about Joshua Zirkzee. I think since that Newcastle event, Joshua Zirkzee's been really good. He's come off the bench and shown up Rasmus Højlund when he's played at striker. He's now gone into that 10 role, and because he started 3-4 games in a row, he looks fitter, he looks sharper, he looks like he's gained a yard of pace. Even Ruben Amorim said it himself. He's not a natural goal scorer, but we're not scoring goals in attack, but he's holding up the ball, he's making good passes, he's keeping the ball well, which I think is what people are being frustrated with Højlund for not doing. And I look at Joshua Zirkzee, and I think 2 months ago I thought maybe there's not a future at United. Maybe we do sell him in the January window. I thought maybe there's offers, there's interest there. But actually, we're seeing the player that I saw at Bologna. I wanted us to sign Zirkzee because I saw this player at Bologna. We're starting to see it. Not as good as it was at Bologna, but he needs the players around him. He's very much a system player. He needs the players around him. He needs the runners around him. And I think with the right transfers in the summer, Zirkzee could make that 10 role his own. I think there's a player there. He looks fitter. He looks sharper. I think Zirkzee's got a future at United, and I think that's an example of, look, I know we're not scoring goals now. I know we want to see more from Zirkzee, but let's not write off a player so quickly because I think he's been quite good these last 2 months. Another player that's been brilliant these last 2 months is Bruno. Most progressive actions, most progressive passes completed, most forward passes, most long passes completed, and most passes into the penalty box. He's also third for chances created this season in the Premier League. It's an underperforming Man United side, but he's stepping up with goals, assists, and making things happen. Martin Odegaard has gone asleep for Arsenal. People always talk about Martin Odegaard because he's techie, he's nicer to watch on the eye, this and that. Martin Odegaard has gone absolutely missing for Arsenal since Saka's been out. He can't do anything. Bruno Fernandes, when we're bad, he has bad periods, he's inconsistent, but he can win you a game. He's a game winner. He's one of those players that can go into a good team, go into a bad team, and still be the best player. I think if he was playing for a good team, he'd get the respect he deserves, because people say we're 15th. It doesn't matter that Bruno's our best player. If Bruno Fernandes was at a top-level team, he'd be one of those players that we're saying we wish we signed, and he would be spoke about so differently. I 100% believe that. But I saw this from H, and I want to talk about Leny Yoro because I thought he was really good last game. One of Yoro's better games for United tonight, so this was the game against Ipswich at left centre-back too. He's looked the best at left centre-back out of all the people that have gone there since Leach has been out. Some of his stepping in with the press has been shaky, but it felt like he got the balance and timing spot on tonight. Looks a lot more measured, less reckless, and even physically more aggressive. Was worried initially with him playing left-sided and how that would affect his ball playing, but some really nice bits and pieces tonight. Loved that step in diagonal pass that he played a couple of times to split their block to Fernandes. He's got the hips to swivel on the ball and create his own passing angles. Not so much range, but his first thought is to move the ball forward and find a pocket player. I think everyone saw how technical he can be, but he seems to stylistically understand what the wide centre-backs have to do more than most players he's featured there. So young, but great tactical detail. There will be dips. The kid's 19, but I'm hoping he can build some momentum and keep going. And what H is spot on about is he's only ever played in a back four, so he's got to adapt to playing in a back three. And he's learning that role, and he's showing signs of he's learning that role. He understands the tactics. He understands what he wants to do. He's showing progress. And I think Leny Yoro is going to be an unbelievable and top signing for United. I'm excited with what his future might hold. And then last but not least, these are our goal scoring statistics. Ahmad 6, Bruno 6, Rashford 4. We are lacking the goals at the moment at Manchester United. So it's very obvious in the summer we need a proven goal scorer. And Delap scored 10 goals this season. Great, I like Delap. But we need a proven goal scorer. I think if you get Cunha, you can get Delap as well, because Cunha's a proven goal scorer, and Delap has proved he can score goals on a struggling side in the Premier League. But I want that experience. Let me know your thoughts, though. I do like Delap. I wouldn't complain if we got him, but I'd rather experience. Thank you for watching. Bye.